Congratulations everyone on making it to the next level. Today, we'd like to take you through a very short segment on how do you storyize your speeches. Now, the main objective of this is to help you understand that your ability to visualize and storyize your topics can take you from anywhere to anywhere. So remember, each time you take the stage, you become the narrator of a story. And what does a narrator do? A narrator tells a story from either one of these perspectives. You're either telling a story which is yours or somebody else's. Now, this is just the beginning. Now, where does the story begin? The story begins with something called the main idea. Now, as we sat through your presentations during your prelims, we realized that you had a lot of main ideas. Some of them were picked from your lives and some from your books. But that does not matter. An idea is an idea, and you are the storyteller today. So what is the first thing that you look at? The first thing that you look at is to understand what we call the structure. The structure is very simple. It has an opening, a main idea, and the closing. That's it. It's that simple. But what goes into the opening, the main idea, and the closing is what we're going to talk about today. Now, how do you open? As much as possible, try and open with what we call a grand opening. You can either use a statement, which could be like the example given here. 73% of the world population is afraid of speaking in public. It could be a question, something like, how many of you know? And the rest of your question? It could also be, did you know that kind of a question? Or the third choice you have is a quote from somebody very popular. For example, here we said, William Shakespeare said, the world is a stage and all men are mere actors. Now, what is the purpose of this structure and the opening? The purpose of the opening is by using those 2 or 3 lines, you are creating a context. A context which tells the audience what you're about to tell them and what your topic might be. Now, where do we move from here? You have a grand opening. You've now indicated to your audience what it could be. From here, we move to what we call the body of the presentation or your speech, which is the main idea. Now, considering that you have just about 2 to 3 minutes to finish your speech, it's a good idea to stick to 1 or 2 examples. So here, I've given 2 examples. How do you go about this? The first example says, when I was in class 3, my English teacher asked, and you go on. Or 2 years ago, I got a chance to represent my college in. Now, these 2 stories have to end somewhere. And I gave 2 options as to how these stories could have ended. In the first one, I'm assuming that I failed miserably. In the second example, I'm assuming that I was elated at how it turned out. And hence, something else happened. What happened? That day, I decided that I will. You go on with that. Or, that day, I realized how important this is. Now, by using step 1, step 2, and step 3, you complete this story, and give them 2 reasons of why you chose this context. Now, this is step 1 and this is step 2. But it does not end here. You have to always give your stories a closing. So how do you close, and what is a closing? A closing is where you appeal or you ask your audience to take an action. You have to tell them what to do or what you want them to do. In the same example that I have given, I am saying, so friends, though at this point you may feel technical knowledge is important, please take speaking skills seriously. Once you end it, you would have either changed the audience's thought process or you would have asked them to take a particular action which is related to your main idea. So let's go through that again. Your main objective of this is to understand that you have to visualize and storyize your speeches. Remember that you are the narrator and that you can choose any story to tell, yours or somebody else's, and that you are talking because you really have something great to tell them. Remember, there is nothing like a great structure, and the first bit of the structure is the opening. You have 3 choices: statement, question, quote. By doing this, you are setting the context of what you're about to tell them. And then you move to the main idea. How do you get there? You get there by giving 1 big or 2 medium-sized examples. These examples have to relate to the to what happened and how it made you feel, and hence, because you've learned a lesson from these 2 anecdotes, these 2 stories, these 2 experiences, today you are a changed person and you want others to experience that change. And here you say thank you and get off the stage.